After I uploaded my last video, I kind of realized that the audio in it was way too loud, so I think to counteract that in this video, I'm going to spend the whole entire time screaming. I also noticed that I left a bunch of my mouse clicks in that video, so I think to let out some frustration, I'm going to spend the next 10 seconds clicking my mouse. Okay, that wasn't 10 seconds, but I still had fun, so. Alright, I've already spent enough time in this video just being annoying, so let's get right into the Alright, so I've already spent way too much time in this video just being annoying, so let's transfer to something more entertaining. Spider-Man 2. Yeah, let's talk about it. Features I want. Let's go. First and foremost, I want to get the elephant out of the room, the one topic that everybody talks about in every single Spider-Man 2 features video, the one thing everybody wants to be the best, web slinging.
Balloon missions.
Wow, my balloon is back!
All jokes aside, I do think Spider-Man 2 could heavily benefit from having some more variety in the random events. Just throw in some random shit like helping a kid recover his lost balloon or saving a cat from a tree, I don't know. Maybe throw in some quests where we have to save people from a burning building and such. Not everything has to be a burglary or a car chase. Sometimes the mundane events in video games can be the best. Not only that, but improved random events could definitely help make the open world feel more immersive and enjoyable. I think Spider-Man Miles Morales improved some things regarding the random events, but there is definitely some more room for improvement. With that out of the way, let's move on to something that is far more enjoyable to talk about. In my opinion, I think the web swinging in both Spider-Man 1 and Spider-Man Miles Morales are pretty damn good. I'm not a big fan of a lot of the PC mods surrounding the swinging. Now that's not me saying that the modders did a bad job or anything like that. I just personally think that a lot of the animations that are in those mod packs don't really fit the Insomniac version of Spider-Man. Could they? Sure, but based on what we got in the first game, Peter seems very precise with his swinging and movements and doesn't really care to add much flash or flare. I think it would be really silly to see Peter doing all sorts of acrobatic movements and air tricks while trying to stop a helicopter that's falling from the sky. Do I think that there needs to be more variety in the animations and some minor improvements to the swinging overall? Yes, but I don't necessarily think it's in the form of adding a plethora of flashy animations to Peter's swinging. I think that what they did in Miles Morales with the animations smoothly transitioning from one to another was a huge step forward, and Peter really just needs some more of that. In me saying that, I do see the appeal in all of the modded animations that people have come out with for PC, but I think adding and improving on things from previous Spider-Man titles instead could help make the traversal system a much more enjoyable experience. The first thing I would love to see added to the game would be the ability to run/slide down buildings. For me, this feels like an absolute no-brainer and is genuinely one of the main things I would love to see added in Spider-Man 2. We were able to run down walls in The Amazing Spider-Man 1, so I don't see why this wasn't a feature considering Spider-Man PS4 released like a whole 5 years after The Amazing Spider-Man 1. I personally think this could make for some very unique parkour improvisation and could also be used in a way to add more variety to the combat system, but I'll touch on that a little bit later. The second thing I'd like to see is some more takeoff animations. I think adding some variety to these animations could make for some cool cinematic shots in photo mode, but also give a more diverse feeling when taking off from different heights and angles. Thirdly, I want to be able to run while holding my web, both on the ground and while running on the side of a building. This was in Spider-Man Web of Shadows, so I don't see why it can't be in this game as well. Hell, running on the ground while holding your web was also in the original Spider-Man 2, and that game came out in 2004. I think it's about damn time we bring that feature back. Last but not least, I would love to see some sort of custom web swinging style menu. Now this is really only necessary if they add more aerial tricks to the game and some of the previous features that I mentioned earlier. We should be able to chain different aerial tricks and see the ones we like more often. Not only that, but maybe somebody doesn't want the ability to run with their web while on the ground. They could remove that from their custom swinging style and replace it with the mechanic they prefer. I just think that certain features and or non-features could add for a much wider skill gap, which could help increase the replay value and make traveling across the city even more enjoyable. I could definitely expand upon this in a video later on, but for now I think that's all I want to talk about when it comes to the web swinging and traversal in Spider-Man 2. When it comes to improving the combat in Spider-Man 2, I'm really not all that picky. There's only a handful of things that I would like to see added to the game. One of those things being environmental takedowns. Spider-Man is known for his agility and creativity, and I would love to see Insomniac expand on those two things inside of their combat system. Imagine the possibilities and the amount of scenarios you can make up in fights just by using the environment to your advantage. I'm going to throw a couple of examples on screen to try and explain exactly what I mean. Imagine that you're fighting in a confined space such as an alleyway and you need an evasive maneuver to avoid the attack being thrown at you. You press triangle and circle together and proceed to run up one of the alleyway walls, propelling yourself to do a backflip up and over your enemy, webbing them up and taking them down. Kinda like this. Or this. I know that wouldn't be the most monumental thing that could be added into Spider-Man 2, but I still think it would be pretty cool. Alright, I actually have some sort of gameplay for scenario number 2, so check this out. Alright, you swing into combat on a busy street and you want to have some momentum and speed behind your initial attack, so you web zip onto a streetlight, causing Spider-Man to do a roundabout of flips, which is then followed up by a Hurricane Rana. You know, that'd be pretty cool. I don't know, that's just me. The enemy has no idea you hit them, and you continue to fight the oncoming enemies with that same creativity and agility. Imagine if for my next finisher I did a 619 around that streetlight to knock that dude out. Or if I used this escape ladder to fling myself forward to kick that dude in the head. I don't know, I could probably list 1,000 different creative scenarios, but I'll just leave it at that for now. Actually, on second thought, I have one more scenario that I'd like to introduce real quick. Alright, so you know how we have all kinds of gadgets and powers that when used correctly can be very overpowered? Yeah, right. Well, you want to hear something that isn't overpowered? Trash cans. That is absolutely right. I want a trash can finisher. Look at me going for this shit in game and tell me that wouldn't be fun. In all seriousness, I really do want to see Spider-Man be able to utilize the environment around him just a little bit more. Okay, I know that I said I wasn't that picky when it comes to the combat, but I'm starting to realize that this is the thing I'm wanting to talk about the most, so another feature that would be pretty neat would be the ability to use your web shooters mid-swing. It was in the Amazing Spider-Man 1, and I just think it looks really cool in general. Okay, I lied about it being in the Amazing Spider-Man 1, but it was in this cutscene from Insomniac Spider-Man 1, and I just love to see it in Spider-Man 2. Now, this next feature I want to talk about, I got from a YouTuber by the name of Colin, so definitely go check him out. He makes some really good content. I think his idea of adding a custom animations menu to Spider-Man 2 is phenomenal, so I'm just going to play his part of the video where he explains it.
The third thing I would love to see is customizable animations. Like if you want to equip certain air tricks that are set to certain button combos, then you would be able to do that. If you want certain animations in combat, then you could have like Peter would have like a martial arts fighting style, or if you want him to be more flashy in combat, that's also cool. They could even add the option to change the frequency of how often a certain finisher animation pops up. Like you could line them up in an order of how often you want the animation to pop up. Like if you want this finisher animation to happen more frequently, then you would put this at number 1. And if you want this animation to happen less frequently, then you would put that at like the bottom of the list. Kind of hard to explain, but if you're picking up what I'm putting down, you get me.
The last thing that I want added into Spider-Man 2 would be an improved photo mode that includes an instant replay feature. I think that's pretty self-explanatory, so I'll just leave it at that. Alright, that's basically everything I wanted to talk about when it comes to features that I want to see added into Spider-Man 2. At the time that I'm recording this, we're only 68 days away from the game actually coming out, so I thought it would be neat to make a video on it beforehand. My next video will more than likely be about the weirdest Spider-Man comic that I've ever read, so stay tuned for that. Also, be sure to let me know what features you'd like to see in Spider-Man 2. Oh, and one last thing, make sure to be nice to your fellow webheads because you never know what they might be going through. Alright, see ya.